Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of EDU 600. We are on Monday, starting week number 12, which is April 14th. And this week is all about developing your draft or your data matrix. And I call it a draft because based upon any kind of comments I give you in this particular assignment, and it's not a major assignment, it's just a check-in point, you may make modifications to your actual matrix, which is part of the final assignment. I ask you to submit your final matrix embedded or at the end or in a separate file with your final assignment. So let's get right to the materials. And just one last thing, if you have not submitted your experimental critique, please get that to me by the end of the upcoming weekend, if at all possible. If you've made arrangements with me and that is not possible, that's fine. But for everybody else, if possible, please get that into me. It's important at this point that we start wrapping things up because we only have 3 more weeks, actually 2 more weeks of content. The last week is for writing your final review, your assignment. So if you haven't submitted your experimental critique, please do so. So this week number 12, is all about developing the matrix. And if you think about the draft comparison data matrix, I say draft only from the standpoint that you submit it to me, it's due on April 21st, and I will give you some comments. You may want to embed or change your matrix for the final assignment. Basically, I ask you to submit your final matrix in with your final assignment. It can be the last page, that's preferable, but we'll talk about that next week. So what I'd like everybody to do is read chapter 16 and 17, look at a video on how to construct the matrix, and that is a voice thread, so we've used that before in this course. You go to the static screen, make sure your volume is up. You have to hit the forward arrow, and then you either get the audio. Not all of the slides have the audio, but most of them do. So watch that, and I'll give you a very quick preview also of how to construct the matrix. In here, we have a blank template, we have a matrix exemplar, and another one. If you're creating your own template, which is nothing more than a table, these are the headings I'd like you to use. So let me just click on one of the matrix exemplars to show you what a finished product looks like. Okay, here's a finished product, and if you think of the matrix as a way that you can visually see your particular studies, and some people organize them in different ways. Some people if you have 6 qualitative studies and that's the only thing you could find, that's fine. If you have 2 mixed method studies and 2 qualitative, 2 quantitative, that's fine. I do want to mention, if you have mixed method studies, this is important. If you have mixed method studies, you only need to focus in on one of the types, meaning the qualitative or the quantitative. You don't have to analyze both of those in your final paper. So once again, if you have mixed methods, just focus in on the qualitative or quantitative and mention to me in the paper that it is one or the other that you are doing the analysis on. So here's what it is. The only thing I'd add to this is I'd just make sure that you add your identifiers up here. This is one assignment you do not have to provide a cover page, but if you put your name, the assignment, the course, you can fit it right up here. Okay, this is how you do it. You come in here, you put the name of the study, what was the research question, type of research, in this case it was qualitative, interviews studied, sampling, out of the purposeful sample of 12 veteran teachers, how did they collect the data, what were the results, quality of study, how you're going to rate it, and then the reason for the rating. This is not meant for you to write a full page on each one. If you can ideally put three research articles in one page, three on the second page, so it's a total of two, that would be excellent. So this is what the matrix looks like. You can look on this, you can look at the exemplar, this one and the other one. One thing that sometimes students do, and I think it's a good idea, is for like this article, down below they have references. So they already have typed out in APA formatting the correct APA formatting for this particular article. So once again, that's not required for the matrix, but sometimes it just helps to have it down here, and that streamlines when you get to your final paper. You'll have it right here. So basically then you can cut and paste the information into your references page in the final assignment. So that is the matrix. And at this point, that's about all that we have going on in this particular week. It's all about drafting the matrix. And if you have any questions leading up to that, please let me know. It's due on the 21st, and shortly thereafter I will have all of those graded. It's not, I can't even remember what it's more a check-in grade, like a 2-point grade. So once again, it's just an opportunity that I can see them. And just before I leave, I'd like to say I've had students do things like they blow up their data matrix, not blow up, but they make a big copy of it and they put it on their wall. And only they've explained to me that when they did that, they could see patterns. They could start seeing patterns on how they would want to write their particular final assignment, the final critique of the 6 articles. Meaning there might have been 2 articles that talked about that were very similar. There were 2 others that were very similar and 3 others that were very similar. But at this point, I encourage you to take a look at the materials in the content areas. There's more materials on there. And also look over the fence at the exemplars and the information concerning the final assignment. I'll have more information on that coming up next weekend. That's really what we have. You're going to have plenty of time to write the final assignment. And I'm just at this point. Let me close this and then I'll go to the assignment page. Okay, I updated that. Now let me go to the assessments and I'll show you the assignments. Okay, so I can see one person has submitted their draft matrix. We have the final review. This is the big paper that is due on May 6th. So that is really what we have. And then I will grade everybody's participation throughout the semester. There is a bonus. There's a bonus extra credit. And for some people that, you might know that you have already by the end, you might know that you have an A for the course. That's great. But you can see this is worth 3 points. And 3 points could be the difference between an A- and an A, or a B+ and an A-, or a B and a B+. So it's not a big deal. Reflect on your course learnings. How will you apply what you learned, etc. So just a heads up, there's an easy 3 points waiting for you at the end of the course if you want to do it. If not, if you're confident and you're okay with whatever grade you will have after I send back your final grade on your participation and also on the final assignment, that's fine with me. So that's it for me, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. It's Friday, April 11th, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see everybody online next week. Bye.